We are live. Hey, welcome to our Wednesday homebuyer seminar. We get together every Wednesday, 5 o'clock, sometimes 4, sometimes in between, 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm Bill Gross, along with my. We switch sides here. Hold on, I can change that. There you go. Back on that side. Patricia Castillo. Say hi, Patricia.
Oh, I'm on the you were pointing on the other side. Yes. Hi, everybody. Good to
On
be
my
here
camera, you're
today.
that way. I don't know how it is on yours. You're that way to me. And I just flipped you over so that I made it work. Anyhow, whatever. This is a big studio production. We got a lot of staff people. Hey, producer one, producer two, get your act together. No, I'm just kidding. It's me. Patricia, say hi.
Yes. Hi, everybody. It's a great day to be here and talking about all things home buying.
And in case you're wondering who the lender is, we have with us today Shannon, the lender. Shannon,
How's it
what's
going,
up?
guys? Good to be here.
Hi,
Dude, the guy's got the voice for radio, huh?
Oh, thank you.
Shannon.
Yeah,
I have a
outstanding.
voice for the first time homebuyer seminar. That's what I have a voice for.
Very nice. Very, we like that. Don't we like that, Patricia?
We do. Yes.
So who wants to start off? What's new? How about those rates? Boy, it looked like they're going to go like a rocket ship, kind of like SpaceX. They're going up 7.25, 7.5. Who knows where they're going to go to? And then boom, right back to 7.2. What the heck's going on, Shannon, the lender?
Came down. Yep.
Yeah, they're coming back down. I think the meeting for the Feds, obviously always muddles, the water and shakes everything up for a little bit. Then, people start calming down, things start coming back down. And I mean, it looks like we're now, like you said, back steady where we were before. So, there's not too much of a difference, but yeah, I mean, the Feds did say, look, depending on how inflation goes, we're either going to maintain where we're at, or if things go good, we will, schedule our rate drops as planned. So we'll see. I don't think they even know what's gonna happen. It seems like, So I'm telling everyone, let's just prepare for the worst. Let's see if rates do just maintain where they're at, and see where they're. I would say just act as if rates will maintain and move forward as usual, and which could be a good thing for buyers. So if buyers are looking at, hey, should I buy now or should I buy later?
Yes. The answer is yes.
That's
Yes and yes.
Yes, I love it. Okay, perfect. I love this chart here.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at this. We I can't remember exactly when we met and how it all worked out, but one day we're cruising along, 705, 699, 705. Kaboom! 7.5. Hey, and she back down. Kaboom! 7.52. Kaboom! And here we're back at 7.2. So it's been a wild ride here in May 2024, huh?
Yeah, I think that conventional. I'm not sure. I don't think that's
Yeah.
FHA.
Yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
not FHA. Yeah,
That's the pretty
FHA.
much.
Just so FYI, guys, FHA is on the sevens right now. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a good point to
just
make because buyers will see rates and think that they're all the same. But the rates for
exactly.
financing depends on the loan product you're getting and of course your credit and everything, your down payment. But FHA is typically going to be about a percentage lower than conventional financing.
That's exactly right. FHA is always going to be the lowest, compared to conventional. And then after conventional, you get into, what I know we talked about in the past, the non-traditional, non-conforming loans that are a little more flexible. But again, you're going to have a little trade-off with that flexibility.
Right.
It seems to me now we all had different markets we operate in. I don't really work the luxury market, even though I live in West LA. Most of my business is $1 million houses and below, $500,000 to $1 million. LA, also Inland Empire. So it's mostly conventional, though. FHA and the buyers FHA. I see more and more offers FHA where they're trying to get sellers to say, "Hey, things may have slowed down a little bit, but I'm still here, and I can offer a little bit more, though the property's different and the paperwork's a little different." So to talk a little bit, Shannon, about the difference of a buyer who qualifies FHA, who may or may not qualify uh, financially, but was the FHA limit the seller to accepting, and how do we open that door a little bit for the buyer?
Got it. So if I'm understanding you right, the question is, what's the difference between someone that's approved FHA versus conventional, and how does that look differently when it comes to, presenting to a seller? So that's a good question. I think the main overall point, if you're looking to buy and, you're getting qualified FHA, in, the pros, I will give you the pros and the cons. If you're a buyer looking to qualify for FHA, the pro is you're going to get it, like Patricia said, you're going to get a lower rate, right? You can qualify for more because your debt to income ratio when it comes to FHA is a lot more forgiving than conventional, right? So for the same amount of money that you're making, FHA allows your what's called debt to income ratio, meaning that all your bills on your credit report, you know what I mean? Your gas, all that stuff they don't look at. They look at whatever's on your credit report plus whatever your new mortgage payment is cannot be more than, I would say, 56% of whatever your overall income is, as opposed to conventional can be typically around 45%. So that gap in almost 10% gap is means a lot when it comes to how much you qualify for, and the rate goes down as well. When you get an FHA loan, your rate's lower than the traditional 7%. So that's a pro, but obviously a con is when you're approaching a seller, you're not as attractive as someone going conventional or going, all cash or 20% down. You're pretty much the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to attractiveness. Let's just call it what it is. But this is a time where your agent and your lender are very, very important, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bill and Patricia, because you guys are selling agents, but they will look past a lot of things if you have every other factor going for you, meaning that your team is communicative, your team is advocating for you, they're presenting things in a very organized and timely fashion. And also too, are you strong on your credit report? Do you have funds? Do you have all your ducks in a row? So going FHA is not a death sentence by any means of the imagination. However, it just means you're going to have to put your best foot forward and do a little bit of work, but it is possible. I'm seeing FHA loans get approved, left and right. So it's not that it's impossible. It's just, you got to just put your best foot forward when you're going the first time home buyer route. And for those even more who are getting the down payment assistance program that we talked about last week, one thing you have to think about is what is the seller going to think? The less skin in the game that you have, the more they're going to scrutinize that loan, and you as a buyer. So you have to make sure that all your other ducks in a row. You can't really have no money in the bank, bad FICO score, going down payment assistance program with an agent that's just, or their team, lender, whatever the case, that just, is flying by the wayside and just putting your things together,
Right.
lillygagging. So it's having a right team if you're going to go FHA, especially down payment assistance. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a great credit score, not that you can't have one, but have a great FICO score, have a little bit of money in the bank, to show that, hey, I'm financially responsible. I can take on this loan and I have what it takes. So there's a lot of benefits with FHA, but when it comes to competing in the marketplace, make sure that you put your best foot forward.
That's so true. Especially right now, it is becoming more competitive as years progressing into spring, and then we're going to get closer to summer. I just made an offer on a property in Altadena, which homes there are, base price is like $1 million. And this is a fixer, and there's 12 offers. So just to, give people like an idea of multiple offers coming back. So it is important, as Shannon mentioned, to have everything lined up for an FHA offer, and not to mention also knowing if you are looking at a property that does need some repairs, what do those repairs look like? That would be a really good opportunity to, when you go to the open house or you're looking at a property, take some pictures and send them to the lender, send them to us, to Shannon, and we can tell you this property is going to have an appraisal condition, because once the appraiser goes out to look at the property and do their evaluation, they're going to call out certain things that an FHA lender will scrutinize, like tripping paint. Sure that the property that you are interested in and that you like to live in is actually going to meet the requirements for an FHA purchase. So that's something else that's important, as a property condition as well, in addition to everything else that Shannon just said.
I literally just had that experience last week. I have a listing that we had a large down payment conventional buyer accepted on,
Mhm.
and they did an inspection, and they actually did a termite inspection. No, I'm sorry, home inspection, and with a contractor, not a formal plan, and they just decided they didn't want to go through with it. Now, I think it's because they bought another property, because you don't just back out after inspection. You might normally ask for some sort of concession.
Right.
And so when you go back to the previous buyers, we got another offer in. It was FHA, and I was very hesitant. I called the agent, but the agent was on her game, and she said, "Well, is there anything you're concerned with at that property that you think it won't go FHA?" And I said, "No. When I was at the house, there was all kinds of junk in. I couldn't even see the house
Mhm.
inside." I said, "I'm just concerned in general." And she said, she'd walked the property. She said, "I looked pretty closely. I didn't see anything that to me jumped off the page." Her lender's very experienced. She had her lender call me up. They were going to rush out the appraiser right away, so we don't spend too much time on the negotiation. Like, she gave me all the things she could do to make it as easy as possible for me to say, "Yes, we'll give you a try." And she and like to Shannon's script almost exactly. We're a team. We're going to work together. We're communicative. We're going to give it a bet. We understand, in my case, it's a probate. They don't have any money, so the seller can't pay for any of this stuff. So we'll have to figure out how to, if there's anything called out, to work on it. And meanwhile, we got a nice offer at a little higher price than the other one. So again, we'll see how that one works out, and I'll bring back that story, hopefully in a couple of weeks, that we're clear, not it fell out of escrow. But I think you're right on, Shannon, that it's about communication. And I think to the buyers out there, it's to find the right lender and realtor team to advocate for you. And for the realtor, it's to find the right lender who's willing to make those phone calls to the listing agent. Still shocks me, as a normal course of business on every offer, that loan officers don't call me to try to get the offer accepted. I just don't understand. Just leaving a message. I might be too lazy even to call you back. Most realtors probably are, but at least call and try to get your offer accepted. That's how you get paid at the end of the day, I think. So
Absolutely. And also to ensure and reassure the listing agent that
yeah.
the buyer's going to close, right? Because as listing agents, we want to make sure that the buyers are going to close and we're not going to go back on the market. That's one important thing too, is communication is really at the core of a really good offer, and making sure that, everything is transparent and the lender knows what kind of offer was submitted as well. I usually, if I'm working with Shannon with the buyer right now, and I'll email him if it's a weekend, or text him and say, we're submitting an offer on this property. And then I'll send him a copy of the offer as well. Even if it's not, it may get accepted, it may not, but just so that he's in the loop in case the buyer happens to call him, he knows that we just made an offer on a property.
I think
Yeah.
that's so important. I think it's so important, and make a phone call or at least a text the listing agent if they want to reach out to you. Why would you not? That's how you get paid, Shannon, right?
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. I actually had someone, not going to, but someone that I work with got into escrow on a property, and I had no idea. I didn't get an email. I didn't get anything. The only way I knew was the buyer calls me 2 weeks into escrow and saying, "Hey, is there anything I have to do? We just opened escrow. We opened escrow on the property 2 weeks ago, just did inspection." I'm like, you guys are in escrow? What's going on? And
It's true.
so, yeah, so, yeah, I was like, I got no emails, nothing. So it's a very simple tip, but I would let you hear, agents, please let your lenders know when you put in offers, when you get an escrow, please do that. Yeah, because that's something that Patricia does very well, and I have a very few agents that actually do that, which they update me every time that there's an offer being sent. They CC me, which I appreciate, and I always open people to do. But some people work differently. I don't know. Maybe they're more secretive about. I have no idea. I don't know.
They're
But
not as good as Patricia's.
yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Well, so I think a lot of people, were able to get by the last few years when business was easier. And the word of the day I want to talk about today that we shall embrace is hard. I was just before this podcast, I was out my front door, and my next door neighbor's son came home from school. He's in med school. I said, how was it today? He goes, "It was really hard." I said, "Great. It should be hard. If you want to transform from not being a doctor to being a doctor, it should be a hard process." And I think the same is true for buyers. It should be hard. It is going to be hard. I hate to tell you, I don't know if I'm letting out a secret here. It's hard to buy a house. It's a lot of money, a lot of paperwork, a lot of time, a lot of phone call. It's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard to be successful as a real estate agent. It's hard work every day. It's hard being a loan officer, I'm sure. It is if you're going to be any good. It's easy if you want to be bad. But hard means we're paying the price we need to pay to have the success that we want. And I think too often we try to paint a picture. Oh, it's easy. Just go into, Zillow, click here, click there, and we have this concierge program. It's kind of like Amazon buying toilet paper. You click here and it's your house. No, that's not how it is. It's nothing like that at all. It's never going to be like that because the process is meant to be hard to accomplish something that's of great value. You increase your income, you increase your wealth by buying a property. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be competitive. And as long as you're willing to compete and do the hard work, you'll win. And if you don't do the hard work, you're probably not going to win, or you'll win something you really don't want. So anyhow, the word I'm catching myself on these days is hard, and not reacting. Oh, that's too bad. It's hard. No, good. Good. It was hard. It was hard working pre-approved. Great. It means you did a thorough job. That means you did the paperwork you're supposed to do. If it's easy, you go on to some stupid, I don't know, lending tree and fill out some stupid form. It's easy. Well, it's not worth anything. It's easy because it's worthless, right? It's easy to sit around day long, get drunk, or watch TV and not accomplish anything. So I just want to encourage those people watching, if you're a buyer of property or getting ready to buy, it's going to be hard work. If you're a real estate agent watching this, or a loan officer watching this, it should be hard work to be successful. But I assure you, doing the hard work is the key to success.
Yeah. And I think you guys mentioned, and you're right, you're starting to see, even now with the rates being as high as they are, multiple offers. So just imagine when the rates drop, right? Like how crazy is it going to be? So it's hard, and it looks like it's not going to get any easier. So, what is that famous saying? The best time to plant a tree would have been 10 years ago. Second best time is today. So,
Right.
definitely for anyone out there looking to buy and waiting for things to get quote unquote better, maybe the rates are going to go down, but that's probably the only thing that's going to go down. Competition is going to go up, price is going to go up. Things like Bill says, things are challenging, and they're only going to, get even more challenging. So like you said, buckle up, get yourself prepared now. Even if I have very well-educated clients call me months before they're planning to buy, even a year or two, and like, hey, can we get the planning process started now? And like Bill said, buying a house is not just not just an easy thing to do, so you got to get prepared, you got to have the right team, and you got to start getting these balls rolling. So it surprised me, Bill, that there's right now, like Patricia says, people are getting multiple offers right now. This is supposed to be the buyer's, quote unquote, a buyer's market. And if this is what a buyer's market looks like, I can't wait till when it's a seller's.
No, my listings all have multiple offers on them still.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, still.
What was the time when it didn't? Like, was it last year or last quarter? Or did it just never?
No, it is not as intense a seller's market as it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But it has been a seller's market in the greater Southern California area in general. Now, that's not true of every neighborhood and area. I would say in general, it's been a solid 6-7 year run. Now, it was way more intense. When COVID first hit, it was silent. And then like 2 weeks into it, boom, it was crazy. And it has been a seller's market from that moment. That's 2020. It's been a seller's market at some level, in my opinion, since then, not as intense now as then, but still a seller's market.
Yeah, and I will mention too that in addition to what Bill just said, last year around October, when interest rates went over 8%, at that time we were seeing more seller concessions, than I am seeing today. So sellers were helping buyers with a rate buy down. That's when the 2-1 buy down came out. That started becoming very popular, and the sellers were helping with concessions, whether it was $5,000 or $10,000 to get their rate reduced to help them get into a home. So I did see more of that late last year, as opposed to where we're at right now in the spring market.
I do think what that reflects, I think, Patricia, was at that time, buyers were in escrow, and those buyers experienced a run-up of rates from like 7.25% to 8%. And to keep those particular buyers in escrow, it was easier for sellers to just make a concession, close the deal, than was to start over again. But I
Yeah.
believe buyers from that time period who didn't get the house, I see a lot of them who waited. I mean, I had that discussion with one of my agents today. Wait a year thinking, oh, I'm not going to buy now, rates too high. And they thought prices were going to come down. And here it is a year later, and prices only went up 3% or only went up 5%, but they went up. And so it's been a continuous, I think, seller's market. There was that adjustment when the rates jumped quickly where those individuals were caught by surprise. But when those buyers were flushed out, there was a whole group right behind them who came back in. Even
Right.
I remember when rates were 8%, we still had offers coming in from new buyers. They didn't know rates were at 7. They wanted to buy a house. They got a new job. They got a new raise, and they just wanted to buy a house. And rates are 8. Great, whatever. I'm buying a house.
Well, just yeah, and also having more borrowers on the loan is what I've seen as well. Instead of having
Yeah.
1 or 2, I've seen 2 to 3 borrowers. So maybe the parents and their adult children getting on the same application to strengthen the application, making it stronger. That's one question that I received recently was, can I add somebody to the loan? So the answer is yes. You can have multiple people, multiple applicants on the loan with you, and that'll strengthen your application and also give you that higher income that you might need.
Yeah, and actually I'm seeing that a lot. I think with the exception of maybe mobile home loans that I do here and there, I would say 85% of single family purchases that I see are with a co-borrower, someone else. That's 85% of my applicants. Everyone is coming in with someone else. If it, like you said, if it's a mom, it's a dad, it's a partner, it's a friend, someone is helping out, which is totally normal because I do see a lot of buyers that are very prideful and like, oh, I want to do this by myself, forget about that. I don't want to ask anyone. And I tell them, you know what? I'm not telling you you need to. All I'm saying is it's totally normal. And a lot of people are helping each other out, not for nothing. This is buying a house, buying an asset. So there's no shame in asking someone, hey, would you be able to come on if it's a close family member or friend, even if they can live with you, because eventually maybe you guys can both help each other out and buy the second house. But when it comes to co-signing, another thing too is if you can prove for the next 12 months that you're making those payments, if they're looking to buy a house, they can get that payment removed. So it's not you know what I mean, like I have to stay on there for the life of the loan. That's not what co-signing means. I always say, if you're not looking to buy in the next 12 months, why not help someone else or join them, buy together, and that way you guys could have a starting point and then grow your wealth from there. I've seen families do that all the time.
Right.
So it's if you're looking and watching this video and asking yourself, man, should I not ask someone to co-sign for me? I'm just here to tell you it's completely normal. And it's better than what I see when people help buy for, co-sign on cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that plenty of times where someone, I'm looking, I'm like, why do you have 3 car payments on your credit card? Like, oh, well, I was helping so-and-so, buy a car, helping them buy a car. And that's appreciating it. So,
If you can't afford to pay cash for a car, don't buy it. I'm just saying. If you can't afford to pay cash, then you really can't afford the car. You're just living beyond your means. But on a house, I think it's different. It's funny, to your point, my wife and I moved in this neighborhood 25 years ago. At the time, we had a house in Diamond Bar that we sold for about $400,000, and houses here were like $800,000.
Yeah, I know.
And there are people whose family members gave the money for down payment to buy their first house in this area. And then that house became worth a fortune and they owned it free and clear after a number of years. We really struggled financially. I didn't have a family member to give me that kind of money. And she said, I should have asked my mom. My mom would have given us the down payment and probably co-signed for us when we first moved here. We wouldn't have taken as long to get started. And it's like, well, now you tell us. That's but I think you're right that in retrospect, maybe in the moment it's hard to ask, but in retrospect, what do you live your life for? You live your life to help your kids. And so, because we're now in that discussion with our kids, how do we want to help them out financially? And that's, so, I my daughter hasn't asked us yet, so we haven't done anything, but I think to your point, have that discussion at least. So they can say no. But there's maybe a way you can work together and help somebody. That's a good point. So
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And it
And
helps strengthen the credit profile for the person that is being the co-borrower. It's like a win-win because they're also going to have their credit increase, their FICO. It's going to show that strength in them helping to co-sign as well.
yeah, no, it 100%, it definitely will help you out in terms of your credit if you have a mortgage on there, and that'll be a really good thing. So yeah, from
well, as long as they pay on time.
exactly, yes,
Yes,
yes.
timely payments.
Yeah. So always, that's another thing too. If you're looking to co-sign for someone, obviously vet that person, making sure that they are responsible. And if you have to have a conversation with the lender as well to really find out that information, then do so. I've had that meeting many a times where I'm meeting with the co-signer, and they're doing their due diligence. They're asking questions about me, about the borrower. Hey, how are they? How's their credit look? Is it just that they need the income, or just they need this or that? And I have to be transparent with them because they're, at the end of the day, they're my client as well. So I would say, yeah, looking at the person who's co-signing, what do you want to look for when you're trying to co-sign for someone? The character of the person, obviously, are they making their payments on time? How's their credit look like? That's, at least if I was looking to co-sign for someone, I would look at those things, and why do they need me, right? Is it something that's just completely normal in the grand scheme of things? So when you're looking at co-signing for someone, definitely have a meeting, sit down with the lender, sit down with the borrower, and ask all the questions that you need to make sure that you're feeling comfortable with this decision. Because obviously it is a great thing to help someone else build, wealth, and build um, their net worth at the end of the day. And it could obviously benefit you as well of building up your credit. And if you're also on the title as well, and if you have that agreement, it's going to build up your net worth as well. And the person that is looking to buy for the first time, don't be ashamed to ask for help, whether it's from your family members, or if it's from your partner, your friends, because like Bill said, the worst thing that they can say is no, but the best thing they can say is yes. And you'd be surprised how many people want to support home ownership. You know what I mean? This is not like I'm asking you to buy, like I said, buy a Mercedes, or buy something, co-sign on a piece of jewelry for me, which I've seen too. This is buying an asset. So when it comes to buying assets, you'd be surprised how many people would look differently at that. And there's no shame. I don't think there's no shame in asking, can you help me buy an asset? One of the greatest assets in the United States, which is our land. So definitely don't, be ashamed. If you're watching this video, this is your sign to just ask for help. The worst thing they could say is no, but the best thing they could say is yes. So.
Okay, well, there you go. Ask for help, communicate. Let's get into action here. I think we got a little long here today, but it's been, I think, a good discussion and really productive. So I appreciate those you watching live streaming. I see on YouTube, Facebook. Feel free to put comments in. We have a comment from Lucy Smith. She's this interesting Facebook person that messages me on all my social media. She's not real. It's one of those fake Facebook people that they try to catch
Right.
susceptible people like me, but not me. Sorry, Lucy, not sorry. Anyhow, hey, for the rest of you, though, feel free to put comments in. We're here to help answer questions. We're also here to help you going forward. Let's wrap up today. Patricia, Shannon, last words. People out looking to buy a house, looking to make an offer, agents trying to get that buyer into escrow. What's your last words of wisdom for them to be successful?
I think the theme of the show is definitely pull your resources together and ask for help.
Nice.
Ask for help in any way possible, whether it's from family, friends, your agent, your lender. You have a team behind you when you're looking to buy this investment, because you'd be surprised of how many people will help you especially when it comes to owning a home.
Nice. I like that. Patricia, last words of wisdom from you.
Well, we're embracing the word hard, as you said. So, when you think about hard, it's hard to buy a home, but it's not impossible, right? So it's also hard to keep paying rent for an apartment or a single family that's not going to be yours or that doesn't belong to you at the moment. So choose your hard, right? And then call us to help you uh, plan out, the blueprint for you, and then we'll help you work that plan.
Fantastic.
So, the work, and then we help you work out the plan.
Yeah, I love that. And my word for the week would be hard. Let's get into action. Let's do the work. Whether it's hard or not, you still got the same thing you got to do. You got to make a payment every month, whether it's rent or mortgage. Let's get that property in escrow. Let's save our money, pay the expenses, cut your expenses. Stop frivolous stuff. Stop buying coffee at Starbucks. Make your coffee at home. Let's get serious about this. Let's get the house. Let's get the income and wealth going, and you'll achieve your dreams. So thank you, Shannon. Always a pleasure seeing you, man. Appreciate your time today.
Likewise.
Patricia, always a
Thank
pleasure. Thanks for taking time out from listing properties to talk to the little people. We all appreciate you so much. And I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate on social media. If we can help in any way, reach out to us. We do this every Wednesday, about 5 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.